Paul, a recent worry for businesses has been the concept of ransomware, which is what CryptoLocker was.
Yep,
it
absolutely.
was so the cyber criminals will get hold of your data, lock it up, and then ask you to pay a release fee. What's your opinion on the best thing to do in that situation, in that horrible situation? Should businesses pay up? Is that their only choice? What should they do?
Well, businesses are left with two choices. The first one is if I have correctly stored my data, therefore everything is not stored on my laptop, on my desktop, and not backed up anywhere else. You know, I do have copies of it. It is correctly secured. Then the correct thing to do is to probably come to your IT provider and have them erase and restore your machine back to a working state. You will lose all the data on that machine, but assuming that you've got it backed up elsewhere, then you've got no real worries about that. The reality though is we know a lot of our customers that have been impacted by this have had poor data practices, so they have had things on their desktop or only on their PC which are not backed up elsewhere, and it's critical information that they can't recover from other sources, and therefore they have paid those fees to have their machines unlocked. From a moral standpoint, clearly the view would be don't pay these guys, they are criminals, they are stealing money from you. But the reality is some people are put into a position, and the reason CryptoLocker has been so successful at making money for these people is that we know people have poor data practices. People are putting things where they shouldn't be and are not securing their data properly.
Okay.
I think the mantra of we don't negotiate with hackers you know, isn't going to stand you in very good stead, because if your data is been encrypted, been locked, held to ransom, and you don't have the right policies and procedures, as Paul says, in place to be able to restore it, quite often you can be left with little choice. What we haven't seen and what we don't know is whether they then use that intelligence of the people who are prepared to pay to be people to be the next targets in the future. That's something that time will tell. But you know, at the end of the day, it should be a wake-up call for anybody that gets hit by ransomware, that they need to go look at reviewing their security practices, their security policies, and educate their people to give themselves the best chance of protecting themselves from future attack.
Okay. Now, speaking of which, you've talked about policies, and you've said that people are the main problem when it comes to IT security. How on earth do you encourage the people within your business to adopt your IT security policy?
It's like any policy, isn't it? It's always going to be difficult to get people to adopt it if it's difficult for them to do, right? So what you need to do is think about making it very simple, very easy to do. If you look at some things what people have done around encrypting email, for example, you know, they've made very complicated products where you can choose to encrypt an email, and a company may set a policy that certain emails to certain people need to be encrypted. It can be much easier, if that's a requirement, to take the view of just encrypting all email and making sure that you cover it that way, and therefore it's covered. It's easy then for people to follow the policy. I think if you rely too much on human interaction and it's more complicated to do it in the correct way, people will default to standard. So finding a policy that meets your security requirements as a business, and then applying technology that makes it simple for people to comply, rather than making it difficult.